Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. I'm here with a comparative fit description and showcase of the 2018 Rolex Oyster Perpetual Deepsea D-Blue, the Sea Dweller 126660. That's right, the reprofiled Sea Dweller, identical for the James Cameron inspired model you see here and the standard Deepsea Sea Dweller. Let's talk about fit. Now, 44 millimeters across the case does not change. That's been the same since the debut of the original in 2008. What has changed is that the watch is actually a little bit thicker than before, going from 17.7 millimeters thick to 18.2. That said, the watch is more wearable across the wrist, and there are some significant transformations about the bracelet, the lugs, and the spacing. Let's start with the outright dimensions lug to lug. Now, 51.8 millimeters lug to lug compared to 52.5 on the original Deepsea Sea Dweller. Moreover, from end link to end link, if you measure its broadest dimension across the wrist, you're going to find that it is now 53.3 millimeters across the wrist, end link to end link, compared to 55.7 in the original model. More changes about the spacing of the lugs, you better believe it. The original model was 21 millimeters, so the spacing of the bracelet was a little bit mismatched to the width of the lugs. No more. As the lugs have been reprofiled and so has the bracelet, the spacing is now 22 millimeters for those of you who are daring enough to try to accessorize this watch, and I can't imagine why you would, because it still boasts the best clasp in the business. Rolex's flagship dive watch, meticulously tested as a diver at Rolex, features a spectacular quick adjust system. This is not glide lock as you know it on other Rolex dive watches. This is a system that allows you to adjust without taking the watch off your wrist. So you can actually push the clasp in, you can pull the clasp out, you can make incremental adjustments without risking a drop over water. And that's the point of this clasp. In a maritime environment where you're not getting your watch back, you can open it and adjust it with no hazard to your watch. Now, it also features a flip lock adjustment system in addition to the glide lock incremental. So you have over 2 inches of adjustment built in, not just for fitting it over a dry suit or a wetsuit. You could fit this over a spacesuit. All of it robust and manufactured like a rifle bolt, the way Rolex does. Now, the entirety of the watch is in Rolex's proprietary Oyster steel. It's as tough as ever, 904L steel, being exceptionally corrosion resistant. Rolex going above and beyond, over-engineering the watch, and over-engineered is just enough in Rolex land. It does feature the Serichrome bezel, still with a wonderfully satisfying tactile ratchet. It's got enough refinement that it feels like the upscale flagship diver it is, but at the same time it doesn't have a coarse amount of resistance. Line it up with the minute hand and now you've got an impromptu 0 to 60, or perhaps I should say 0 to 60 radial display. This is a radial display that I actually find more handy than a chronograph. Chronograph displays are small, dive bezels are easy to read, and thanks to the Serichrome composition of this bezel insert, you're going to find that this one wears well over time, retaining its sharp good looks. Now, the Serichrome is highly scratch resistant, just like the Sapphire, and the Sapphire itself doubles down on toughness by being flat planed with a slight domed profile that creates a wonderful vintage style distortion, but significantly 5.5 millimeters thick. It's both beauty and the beast, and many Sea Dweller traditionalists still prefer to have no Cyclops eye. By virtue of the thickness of this crystal, your wish is granted. Helium escape valve, as ever, designed to open between 2 and 3 bars of differential pressure inside the watch versus external environments. For saturation divers, that's there so your crystal and seals don't blow out as accumulated helium exits the watch during an ascent. Of course, it does feature not just the original gas escape valve, as the dial declares, but also the ring lock system, which is a fascinating sandwich-style construction that starts with that tank-like crystal and ends with a rare application of titanium on a Rolex case. So titanium case back, 5.5 millimeter crystal, and then a cylindrical drum that actually encloses the dial as well as the mechanical internals of the watch. Wrapped around the movement in the dial, it provides bracing from both dial side and case back against the pressure. This watch, with a screwed-in case back, Oyster case, and a screwed-down triplock style crown with extraordinary water resistance, 3,900 meters, or approximately 12,800 feet. This is as tough as it gets, and if you're wondering why you need that, well, luxury is all about excess. Also remember that a 5.5 millimeter thick crystal is both highly water resistant and tougher against glancing blows, scratches, and scuffs on the surface, so real benefits to be gleaned underneath the gorgeous gradient gloss dial, which simulates the imagery of James Cameron's famous dive into the Challenger Deep of the Mariana Trench. We go from the surface in the light to the darkness of the depths, with deep sea below the cannon pinion rather than above being a signature of this model in the shocking signal green that matches Cameron's submersible. Now inside, all is change. Rolex has upgraded the old 3135 to the 3235. The principal benefit is that the watch now boasts a 70-hour power reserve, automatic winding as ever with smooth bidirectional action thanks to Rolex's refined perpetual automatic winding system. You get a reprofiled mainspring and barrel for longer power reserve in conjunction with reprofiled train wheels and the proprietary Chronergy escapement system, which is how Rolex does the Swiss lever in the 21st century. Put it all together and the watch is upgraded from approximately 48 hours of power reserve in the 3135 to a robust 70, which is superb if you have a collection of Rolex watches. Perhaps the Deepsea D-Blue is not your everyday watch you can rotate through without worrying about stoppage. A versatile watch now thanks to its shorter spacing across the wrist and the more harmonious balance of bracelet width to lug profiling. This is a handsome watch that has never been more so, nor has it ever been more wearable. And we're back with the reborn Deepsea D-Blue, new for 2018. All is not change on the dial side, even as the glowing chromolite dial sits over a thoroughly modified Rolex 3235. Full balance bridge, free sprung, parachrom blue, anti-magnetic alloy, Breguet over coil hairspring. All that tech glowing in the dark.